or it was 2-0 after the first. There was one of the girls made a play and it was just a turnover and a girl ended up going in, and the other one they just threw it, went off our skating in. But they had nothing else, right? And so, but that was the thing, like I was speaking directly to the parents in regards to, and again, I don't think that they would have had the, I hope, Wally, we get to the point where I'm literally able to answer the questions of the parents. I want the parents to ask me the questions because I know that's going to be what the kids are going to be, right? And so, but maybe
Tom,
that's what.
Tom, listen, I just figured out how to record, and I'm recording you now because what you're saying, I wish I'd recorded the whole thing for coaching clinics, because this is the way things need to become in coaching in minor hockey, and it'll filter up to better players and better coaches in pro.
No.
And my mission is bigger than the sport. It's the impact coaches and sport can have on the society.
Yeah.
By ethically doing things the way they should be for being a teammate or a better citizen or a worldly citizen. I don't care.
Yeah.
But what you're talking about, the parents and coaching the parents, I've been taking a ton of notes, and I wish I had recorded what you've experienced. But think about two testimonials, not testimonials, but you can call them a testimonial to the need to coach parents. Why? The need to engage parents is what we're saying. Now you take it the next to include parents. You're taking it to the level, I coach the parents because this is, that's one thing. And the other thing is just the two things, the idea of letting them play freely. And the second thing is when they play, well, letting them play freely. And the other thing is everybody plays every position in roles. That's how they learn to play.
Yeah.
There's no structure. By switch, there is structure, but they have to play a different position in a structure.
Yeah.
So you understand what I'm getting? Those are the two things nobody in the world does, like you're trying to do right now. I've never taken it to the point where, well, part of a coaching clinic for me will become you're coaching the parents.
Yeah.
But you better be doing things ethically, because if you're not ethical, you can't coach the parents.
Yeah.
They'll shut up and they'll talk behind your back. And the ones who are loud and whose kids are going to get the scholarships.
Yeah. And the other thing, and again, this is something else to be done. So there was a coach, one of the girls, there's two twins on the team, and they their dad was the coach prior. Like he coached these girls from U8. And they were going to quit this year. Actually, he was going to have them play with boys in their school team because he thought the coach last year wasn't happy with it, and it wasn't there. What would be the point in going to these tournaments if we're only going to lose? Like he was, the way he coached, he was very, very result driven, and not a bad guy. He's a Maritimer. Had been in the Army. He works for Facebook now, so Canadian guy. But he was like last year. He was like ethical coaching, like out the window, like like just not in regards to shortening his bench, in regards to like there was anyways. So. But well intended, like for as far as his girls and that. But we have him taking stats now. I have him taking stats in regards to giveaways and takeaways, and to be able to understand like these are the. And so now he doesn't say a word anymore. But now we have him engaged to the point, because it's you have to have a certain knowledge of the game to understand if a puck is taken away or if it's thrown away, if they're trying to make a play. And so he's one of the biggest he's one of the biggest supporters now. And you know, he was, you know, and as I say, like from a sheer, you know, if you look at wins, sure, just wins and losses per se on the scoreboard, right? You could make the argument, you'd be like, oh, you won one and you lost four, right? But he was like, oh my God, I can't believe how good these girls are gonna get like playing this way, like they're engaged, like, you know what I mean? They're having fun, like, for all those things, but keeping them involved, you know, in regards to the level of their understanding of is, I think, is important too, because I was concerned that, you know, there would be, because, you know, when we first started, or even last year, um, his girls, there was always a little bit of chatter, and you knew where it was coming from. Like, you know, it was coming from dad, like 100%, right? And so, you know, me going up to the girl and being like, you need to be more positive, you know, like that's not, yeah, it might work in short term, but ultimately, it's coming in the car rides home, 45 minutes in the car ride, you know, but.
Well, that's super stuff.
Yeah.
Tom, what do you think? You got your quiet thinking look on your face. You probably thought of this all before and done it before.
You know, the book we did is about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, interchanging positions and creating, you know, creating 2-on-1s. I think I like the idea of the 3 Ps there. But, you know, there's always things like I'm hearing right now that I can add. You know, just I like listening to Dom because he's thinking very similar to me, but he's got different ideas than I do that I can incorporate. You know, I've been using games forever, and that's basically why I have this Facebook site now, putting all kind. I don't know if you've seen any of them, but putting all these games because I want to change people's attitude about how effective games are in practice. I mean, before we practiced 2 nights ago, there was maybe 25 skaters or whatever, and the guy had 2 going on a time full ice. So the kids, you know, I mean, they're sitting there 12 times for every time they go, and they're really doing nothing that means anything. And then you're trying to keep. We got 82% of the kids or something quitting the game at 14. And one of the biggest reasons this guy wrote this book called Just Let Them Play, this ex-NBA basketball player. And the biggest reason is they hate practices and they don't have any fun. You know, so the way Dom's talking, I mean, everybody plays everything. I know you know, you keep everybody active, and I think that's what the challenge is, keeping people in the game, especially nowadays with they're just on the phone all the time.
Yeah.
And my granddaughters have all, well, one didn't quit because rugby hasn't started, but the other ones at this age, they've all quit things, eh?
Yeah. You talk about like the dry land and that. So what we tried to do with the dry land, because hey, the dry land and for pros, like to get them, because you know, we all know physiologically they need to, you know, need to wake up the body for injury. Yeah. We all know the reasons why. Players have all been told the reasons why. And like to try to get the players to do a dynamic warm up together might be the hardest job in hockey for those strength and conditioning coaches, right? So
yeah,
the problem is, or not the problem, but so a youth hockey, every team my kids have been on, they have dry land, and they'll go out there and they'll do 2 lines and they'll go through their stretches and they'll do, you know, whatever. And so I just said, I thought to myself, I'm like, okay, how are we going to make this sustainable? How are we going to make this consistent, right? In what they do. And again, you got to think like your girls are more committed. They're older. They have a little bit, you know, as far as attention span and everything else. So I basically said, okay, let's have, okay, what do we want them to work on? Let's just say, so we want them to warm up. Like we want them just to get their core temperature up, Okay, so there's that one element. Then we need them to work on their hand-eye coordination. So there's another one, just a hand-eye coordination. We need them to work on some type of agility to be able to warm up, right? Like some type of explosive agility, and then we want them to do something with their hands, right? Like as far as with the stick and the puck, like in a perfect world. So we just tasked them. We said, okay, you guys, we put them in small groups, and we just asked them, okay, come up with 5 different things or 3 different things or whatever on each one of these things and a game, and then you're going to explain this to the group. And so they came up, we had 3 different groups of 5. They came up with X amount. A lot of the times it would be similar in certain things that they did. And so, but now that's their warm up, right? But they made it up. You know what I mean? Because like, as you say, like, hey, I can run you through the program, and I can run you through agility or whatever else have you, and yeah, there'll be some that will do it just because what they are, but to make it sustainable. Now, if they're making up the game and they've sat down in a group and talked about it, and then we're like, okay, go ahead. Like, we kind of fact checked it in regards to, okay, well, what's the, like, we said it has to be a game. Okay, so what's the, what's the point of the game? What, like, was there a score, or you know what I mean? So as I say, like, and now the girls go play touch flag football for warm up. That was one of the things they came up with. So now they're actually playing a game, working on hand eye, and right. So I don't know. As I say, I like, it just, it has to be
the
there.
best thing that the first year at Mount Royal, my girls made up a dance.
Yep.
And they got their own music. They made it up, and they tried to do all these different things in the dance. And I remember we played the Chinese national women's team too. They were practicing with us, and they had so much fun learning this dance from the girls. So I had that all through when I coached the midgets, up until 3 years ago and all this. Every team made up their own dance. The peculiar thing about that team I coached last year, they wouldn't do it. They just did, like, it was just a strange group.
You got to go TikToks now, Tom, because we did the same thing. So our girls during the tournament, we had one game that was supposed to be at 4, ended up getting pushed back to 6, and one of the moms is a coach or whatever. So they put them up into groups, and they're like, okay, TikToks, and so they all ended up doing like TikTok dance, and they were rolling. They were right, because they talked about the team building or whatever. They all, like, girls that would normally not do it, like do anything, they're all doing I don't know, these TikToks. And then so I had my girls, they were doing a certain TikTok, and I didn't know this before, but they're all little dances that they do together, right? Like, they're all like different, like, if the 3 of us were doing a TikTok, if all of a sudden we did like YMCA, that might be a TikTok. We all do it together in unison, right? Like, that would be, and they take a little.
Can't do that one.
Yeah. So there was a TikTok that my girls are like, just try it. And so, like, I've never heard my girls laugh so hard as me trying to do this stupid TikTok, right? And so, like, we could all appreciate it. But so they did these in these small groups of 5, and then they ended up showing, like, they'd shown them as a group. It was unbelievable. Like, from a like, and it was just organic. So you talk about those dances, like, maybe have them doing TikToks. I honestly, like, that's all the rage down here. Maybe the age doesn't exactly correlate, but
they probably would too. Like, because there wasn't TikTok around when I was coaching the Mount Royal. But the whole thing was, even like 3 years ago, I was coaching midgets, and they had their own dance. And even when we couldn't have a place to warm up, they put their bags right under the benches and do it in the dressing room.
Yeah.
And
I believe it.
But it was about 10 minutes long, and really, really everything. And then I know my Mount Royal girls, they would get hacky sacks after that to get a little bit of coordination, kicking in, keeping in the air. I know the Trojan girls, they play that game with he hit something on it. It looks like a trampoline.
Oh yeah, we played that. So I didn't mention this to you guys. You were talking about team building. It's called spike ball.
Yeah, spike ball.
Yeah,
And that's what we got one of those, and they
yeah,
do that before games all the time. They
yeah,
seem to have a lot of fun with it.
yeah. That's great. We play that as a staff, that spike ball game, and
Okay.
we just like it's a lot of fun. But so we took the girls, and again, I want to if you could reach out Wally to Sammy Joe and ask her about the foot hockey, I'd be curious to what the rules are with that because that looks something unreal actually. Like it looks like they just totally organically made that up. What it is, what the rules are. I'd just be curious because that looked interesting. But we took our kids to the beach, so we all said, on Saturday, I told the other coaches, I said, we need a team day. Let's just go to the beach. And they're like, well, and he's like, oh, okay. So our girls being from well, I guess I can't really say that they're from Canada because they've lived everywhere else but Canada. Like they lived there for 2 years. But anything to do with the ocean, they're like, I'm in. And so some of these girls from California, they're like, well, I'm not going in. Like, because it's like, I don't know, it was 75 degrees or something. And
Too cold for them.
yeah, my girls are like, I'm in. And my girls were all beside themselves because the other girls were like, well, we're not going in the water. We're not going in the water. And I'm like, I go, listen, if you guys go in the water, the whole team will be in the water. And so, and because normally we get to the beach and I'm barely out of the car and they're stripped down and they're on a boogie board somewhere in the waves, right? So same thing happened. My three girls, they go off, they're in the water. So all these girls, they're coming in, and some of them, you can imagine California, right? They're like dressed up like they're going to like the beach in Beverly. I don't even know where, like, some to do place. Well, not 10 minutes later, the whole team is in the water, right? And it was just, but that was the thing. Like, we had him do I brought in a sports psychologist and had someone that didn't know anything about hockey. She started talking about just some she basically made it a safe place for them to talk about certain anxieties that they had and gave them some um, you know uh, strategies to deal with that. She had given us an exercise that so they went around, and they went around and they took turns. One person would have the spotlight on her per se, and then they would go around and they would say one word describing that girl, and they've got one positive word go around, and they would go around, and now they've made bag tags with the one word. Like if they're my daughter, they would be, she's I don't know, joy, whatever the adjective was to describe her. So they ended up doing that at this beach day, and like as I say, like it was incredible in regards to it's nothing to do with
Sounds great.
Yeah, nothing to do with hockey, right? But
yeah, we're gonna have, like, the girls have taken this. I said, do you want to have a Halloween game? Costumes.
yeah,
We had one last year. We had a tournament, and they've taken it on and they've made teams. And I don't know exactly if it's just going to be two teams or probably we don't have that many players.
Yeah.
But we'll have a game and they'll have the costumes on and all this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
On Saturday night.
Yeah. Even thinking about like our team in Stockton. So we had obviously everything got shut down because of COVID, but we started the year and we played 2 games in Colorado. We're on the road in Colorado, and we looked at the schedule before the year, and in the past we're like, oh, it's the beginning of the year. We've got, 1 day travel and then we'll practice the next day. Well, as I was saying, guys couldn't wait to get out of there, earlier in our beginning of our time there. And we just all agreed. We said, you know what, we're going to get a bus for them after the second game in Colorado. And we're going to facilitate like, hey, we got a bus there for you. Let it organically happen. And we had good leadership within it. Boys went out, had to do what boys do. They went out, had a good time. We flew back, had another day off, and you know, we were first place for most of the year. And guys, when we came at the end of the year, we had our year-end meetings. Guys talked about us giving them those days, like right after the beginning of the season, as being like just like so instrumental in getting the team to be together, because every other coach probably would have been like, you know what, at the beginning of the season, we're not giving these guys 2 days off. We got a whole week. We're gonna work on this day is going to be systems. This day is going to be specialty teams. This day is going to be right. We're going to practice 4 days in a row. Instead, we practiced 2 days, and then we came in and we rolled the next weekend, and it just, but that's, and guys in Stockton, every Tuesday, they have a golf tournament. They've had teams over the course of the year, and they will, and that's organized themselves, right? And we facilitate it because on Tuesday when we have practice, we make practice shorter so they can make their golf. And it sounds so counterintuitive. Like, I'm sure there's the old school within everybody that's just like, well, what are you guys doing? You guys have a country club there or what? But, and they talk about, we have guys now wanting to sign back in Stockton for the first time. Because the first couple of years, everything was bad about Stockton. Oh, it's terrible. Bad place to live. The rink's bad. The fans are bad. We've got guys signing back for the first time. We had 5 guys sign back that could have signed anywhere. And they're guys wanting to come back within the team because of the way the environment that we're creating, right? Like,
I hate interrupting, Tom. That's incredible. My last year university hockey, they hired the guy who was a goalie to coach the team. He'd never coached before.
Yeah.
We had a good team, and he was just a nice guy, and he ran practices. He was a phys ed teacher in the city of Saskatoon, and no outstanding technical knowledge or drill knowledge. And we ended up getting to the national finals for the first time in like 30 years. And he really didn't know anything about it, but he was a player coaching who treated us like equals. He didn't treat us like he knew too much, and he managed people well. And we got in trouble sometimes on the road because we would break, curfew, and he didn't have a curfew. And but anyway, we had 2 rituals that the team created. One of them was singing a song, and we would sing it in public if we were on the road, and sing it on the bus. And we always sang it at the year-end athletic conference as a team. We would stand up and sing "Trailers for Sale or Rent, Rooms to Let 50 cents." That was our song. And everybody did it. Now, the funniest thing, if you were at a bar or in a theater and any other teammates were there, and you heard somebody shout "dead ants," you were on the street standing in line in an airport waiting. You got on your back and held your arms and legs straight up high like a dead ant. The last person would be the guy who had to buy the round. And we did that. That might have been more important than anything we did at practice.
Oh, for sure.
That was team building. Yeah. So it just hearing this talk, boy, wow, it's amazing. Now, Tom, I don't know about technology, but I've never recorded a Skype call before. I know Jim Hunter's presentation I recorded. So I'm going to try to find out how to access the recording. I don't even know if it's a video recording or just an audio, but some of the conversations on here are priceless. And I just let everybody know that my whole philosophy is just sharing stuff, and I wouldn't put anything in that would be demeaning, like critical, like, talking about Kim or something like that. But I think I would edit it and use it just to see that it gets out, because coaches need that. They need that kind of guidance and that kind of stuff. Tom, do you have any idea about recording this and how you access it?
No, not really. I haven't really done much with Skype before.
Yeah, I think once if you were to stop it now, Wally, then it will put it on. You'll be able to access it. Like it'll put it on a either on your computer or on the cloud.